All right, I'm Matthew Kaufman here with Tim Capstraw, and Tim, thank you so much for joining me today. Um, I have a few questions for you, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
I know that you started your career as well, first back in 1983 to 1985, you were the head baseball coach in Division One. Made a little history there, actually, being the youngest head coach at Division One at the age of 23. What was that like for you to not only be the head coach, but also to be one of the youngest head coaches at that time?
Yeah, it was a challenge. It was a challenge. I was a basketball coach. I was an assistant basketball coach, but I was a good baseball player in college at Wagner College. And I think the people really liked me there. And what happened was the coach left like right before the season, and they were like a little bit desperate. So they asked me, "Hey, Tim, you got to, the guys will respect you. You're young, but we need you. We want you to coach baseball. What do you think?" I said to myself, "Well, I want to be a head basketball coach." But I thought that if I could show them my leadership ability in baseball, that might help me someday. And I did it, and I really enjoyed it. So it was a great experience.
And I know that we've talked before plenty of times, and especially during the summer when we talked, and your biggest thing is when you get the opportunity to take it right away. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that? How the taking the opportunity for you helped you get to where you are now?
Well, yeah. Well, we always say you can't say no, and that's what I'm talking to you about, opportunities. That's why I'm thrilled to hear you did some football this year. You're putting yourself out there to do more stuff at the school right now. That is the key. You have the ability. I've seen you work. We saw you at camp. You can do this. I mean, everybody's a little raw in the beginning, but I'm here to coach you. We have people to coach you, and just like I said yes to everything, and I think you got to sometimes nowadays you can create your own yes, and that's what I want you to do by offering the ability to get out there, do the games, be the confident guy that I know you can be. You got a good way about you. You can do this, and I said yes but I was waiting for other people. I like that nowadays younger people can create their own yes by promoting themselves, saying, "Hey, listen," to the coaches or to the athletic directors, principals, "Hey, listen, I'm willing to do this. I think it could be of service to the school. I think the players would really enjoy it, and I promise to do a professional job."
Thank you. Another thing is, as you mentioned earlier, you served as an assistant head coach at Wagner College. Then you became the head coach of that team for the following 10 seasons at that time. And again, you also made some history there, being one of the youngest at 28 years old. So you went from a baseball coach, assistant basketball coach, baseball coach, to head coach for 10 years. How was that kind of form altogether to where you are now and the experiences that you've had along the road?
Yeah, no, that was an interesting route. But I mean, along the way, I also went up to Siena College to become an assistant coach up there, and we went to the NCAA tournament. So I was able to come back as a young basketball head coach. I was really lucky. I would not have been hired anywhere else but the school that I went to. So it was very fortunate. I knew everybody, right? I knew everybody,
Yeah.
and they gave me a great opportunity. I did a good job. I turned it around for a while, but I wasn't, I'm first one to tell you, I was a good coach. I was a great recruiter. I can really recruit. I don't know that I was a great coach over the long haul. So I kind of, as time went on, Maddie, after about 8th or 9th year, I kind of got a little nervous. I started offering myself to do like NCAA tournament shows. I was on camp. People would say to me, "Boy, you're kind of funny at these banquets, do this, that." And
They're right about that.
they said, you'd be a good broadcaster. So what happened was I was able to transfer my coaching time at Wagner College to get some easier opportunity or local opportunities as far as being an analyst. And that's what's turned it all around for me. But I wasn't like obviously I was at Wagner College. I wasn't a big name guy. People didn't know, they didn't really know who I was. So I had to really work at it. And I was working at it and scrambling, doing anything I could. And this Nets job opened up, and a lot of people that kind of knew me put my name in the hat. And 21 years later, Matty, I'm an old guy, man. I don't know what the hell happened. But I've done 1,752 games in a row. I've never missed a game. And I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I have the most fun of anybody in sports. And that's kind of the condensed, easy, route that I took. But I feel very comfortable broadcasting, speaking, talking about the game I love, and feel like if you never have met anybody as lucky as me. I am really lucky. My biggest problem is going to a Nets game tomorrow night, against the Washington Wizards. So life's pretty good.
Speaking of that game tomorrow night, leading into my next question, you've been doing this, as you said, for a while now. What's it like for you? I mean, you're especially as an analyst and a sports broadcaster and reporter, all those kind of things, getting to work with different people, talk to different coaches through the years go by, the players. What's it for you that you enjoy most of the opportunity of being with another broadcaster, being with different coaches as the years go on, as the seasons go on?
It has been wonderful. I mean, get to meet a lot of interesting people. You feel the stress of maybe interviewing somebody at halftime or interviewing before a game or being nervous about that. It's not easy. So you get kind of, even as an old dude like me, you kind of still get nervous about it. But interesting enough, the biggest thrill that I have had is working alongside a gentleman named Chris Carrino. He is I think he's one of the great broadcasters that have ever walked anywhere. I mean, I know he's not exactly a huge name, but if you listen to Brooklyn Nets or you listen to national football games, the idea that I get to work next to him and watch his talent and his ability and how smooth he is night in and night out is the biggest. I've Jason Kidd and you got Kevin Durant. I'm telling you, the other thing is he has a physical disability that he's had to fight through, and he's an inspiration. So that is really the biggest deal that I've been able to do. That be able to share time and be like Robin to him being the Batman for all this time has been a real pleasure, and I've appreciated every moment of it.
And you've been working now alongside Chris for a while, and obviously you build relationships between guys that you work with here and there, but your relationships seems to be a little different. It seems like working with someone for such a long time.
Yeah, well, we're close, and even our families are close and stuff like that. But he has a form of muscular dystrophy, Chris, and he'll be the first one to tell you because he has a foundation that raises over millions of dollars for people with this form of, it's called FSHD. And it's you tend to get closer. I've got to help, honestly, I've got to help him get up and down a lot. I've got to lift him a lot. Sometimes he's fallen at times, and he's stuck in a situation where he can't help himself. So you tend to get closer because of that. I just think we're close because we're close. We got a nice chemistry about us, and that I don't know. It's just been, how you get lucky and it just works. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And it just works, Maddie. And you'll notice that, because you also notice when it doesn't. When you're uncomfortable, it ain't working. You're trying hard. It's like a marriage. And fortunately, it's been a good marriage with Chris Carrino.
Yeah, and another thing, like when you first, as you said, you went from coaching at Wagner High School for a while, for some time, and then you transition over to the analyst side of it. What was the transition for you? Was it easy? Was it hard? Was it kind of, you fell right into the spot for you?
No, it's hard. It's hard. You'll notice that when you're broadcasting now too. You'll be a lot better, obviously, the more you do it. And that's why we say, take any job you can get and never say no. You just kind of it's really hard in the beginning. It's overwhelming. It's challenging, which is why I would want you to do, like, if you could do some scrimmages that nobody hears about, you know what I mean? You want to do some and get some kinks out along the way, and do some things, or do a couple games that maybe you're not going to post, just so you can see them. I can say, this is good. You get better by doing it and taking criticism. You got to handle it. You got to want criticism, because that's what makes you better. And, that's kind of how it was for me. It took not a little while. You keep getting better. The problem I have now is that I don't want to get lazy. You know, I've been doing 20 years. I hang out. I have a lot of fun. You got to make sure you're staying sharp. But there was a period of time where I just kind of, maybe 50, 60 games into my first year, I said, I had like an epiphany, like, I can do this. I can do this. I'm good enough to do this. And I think that happens with different guys. There is always doubt. And I do have weaknesses. I'm not great at what you're doing right now. I'm not a great interviewer. So I'm always listening to people and trying to get better at that. So you always have something to improve on, but took me a while, but then you start getting about 3-4 years in, 5, and I got kind of hit my stride. It felt good. Now I got to make sure I just, stay sharp every night.
Yeah, definitely. And then you've been doing basketball, obviously, as you said, for the time now. What for you is your favorite part besides getting to work with Chris and the Brooklyn Nets? What is the overall best thing that you've done being the radio broadcast analyst for the Brooklyn Nets?
The best thing, I don't know, but why going to the NBA? You know what happened my first year where they went to the NBA Finals? So you're thinking, well, you're going to go back there. No, my first year there in the NBA Finals against the San Antonio Spurs. I think that was 2002, 2003. And during that time, this is so many times you see these guys. Like last night, I watched Kevin Durant go for 45 points he got. I think he only had a couple three. He shot 17 for 22. You know what I mean? Like
crazy.
So you're watching the NBA guys. I almost kind of get not used to it, but I'm not overwhelmed. But then you look back at it, man, you're saying, wow, that was really amazing. That was special. So I get to have those moments. And again, I mean, I already told you, I'm the luckiest guy you ever met. And I'm comfortable. I get to sit back and just really enjoy it with not crazy pressure on me.
Definitely. Now, when you first started, as you said, 2002, 2003 season, they went to the NBA Finals. What for you is the biggest difference? I know you've done some stuff with the Yes Network, but besides the broadcasting part, I know you also came out to Montclair State University, the camp that I actually attended this summer. How cool is it for you, and why do you like sharing your experiences with guys like us that are kind of just learning the career and that want to be in this career one day?
Well, you know why? Because I told you I wasn't the greatest coach in the world. I was okay, but I've never not done what I loved. And when I see the young people at camp, I see you, Maddie. You love this. You love broadcasting. You love every part of it. And I just want to encourage people, whatever their passion is, there's a very good chance you could find a job somewhere, somehow involved in it. You know what I mean? Like, even when I'm talking to all you guys about being on air, you may find someday that, man, I like directing even more than I like being, there's so many cool parts of it. But I just like encouraging young people to follow their passions and whatever you love, try to find a job in that or to find a career in that and go for it. And good things that happen, because you're never going to feel like you worked. It's nice not to feel like you're working that often, and because you're so passionate about what you're doing. That's what I'm doing. That's what I see. Maybe we have 40, what do we have, about 40, 45 kids in camp. They're just all passionate about what they're doing. And I also like that even for the ones that, I think we teach life skills there too, also because we make you get up and speak in front of people, and not that many people can do it. It's hard to do. And we make you speak, we make you communicate, we make you be on camera, and we make you do games. And then we encourage you to do this stuff that you're doing right now. I told you could do this and you could find a way. And I appreciate the fact that you're selling yourself. And I think, what really benefits is the players and the parents. They're going to love it too. You know what I mean? And, try not to just always focus on the main sports. So I know you got to probably do basketball and all that, but don't be afraid to give, play to some of the other sports that don't get as much with your interviews. I really believe in that they deserve that. The bowling guys, the volleyball, the swimmers. Not enough people in schools know about the great work they're doing or great jobs they're doing. And it's great practice for you to interview different people like that.
Definitely, I appreciate that. And you said your biggest thing, as we talked about earlier, always taking advantage of the opportunity. What opportunity for you would you say was your biggest opportunity to be where you are now?
Well, getting the Nets job, but I can tell you most of the jobs I worked when I got fired from coaching were volunteer. I called up to volunteer everywhere, and I would practice at home every night. I would practice all the time, watch video. The game would be going on, and I would, after the play was made, I would say why the play happened. You're usually the play-by-play guy. You'll say what happened. I said why, and I would practice it, and I would write down notes, and I would write down every famous quote I ever heard, and just I would just work at it. Where it took me a couple of years, and so you know what happened? So I did all that work, and everybody said, then they finally put me on a game. They said, oh, he's a natural. No, I wasn't a natural. I just been busting my butt for months, pretending I was working on camera. And I remember even building this teleprompter thing in a room. I remember having a VHS video thing, and I would read the newspaper and then talking to the camera like I was explaining what I had just read in the paper. So that's what I say to people. Some people, nobody's really natural. A lot of guys make it seem natural, but they've gotten a ton of reps, and you want to work so hard that it becomes really, really, not effortless, but you can become very good at it.
Yeah, and I mean, for someone who's been doing it such a long time, I appreciate your advice, and this interview that you've done with me today means so much to me, and definitely will mean much to everyone who watches this. A few more things before we go. What for you has been your favorite part of, besides doing the analysis for the Nets and outside of the broadcasting world, the coaching world, what for you is the best part to interact with the kids or interact with other players, coaches, parents? What for you do you enjoy the most?
Well, all of that, all of the above, because I'm kind of a people person, and you see me at camp. I mean, the other guys are maybe doing all the details. I'm hanging out with you. You know what I mean? I'm having fun. I'm trying to get you to come out of yourself, to speak with more confidence, more of an attitude, to get after it more. And I think all of the above. I don't have anything that totally jumps. I like camp. I also have basketball camp for kids. I like that. I like broadcasting. I like doing things that I'm passionate about, and because of that, I've had such a wonderful time.
Mentioning the camp, I know you do the camp during the summer. Now, one thing, and I'm reading this quote online. One thing that you've said, I want to read this quote. I have seen a number of students come in very raw on their ability to talk in front of people. By the end of the week, they get a lot of reps and corrections, like speaking with confidence and having an edge to you. I think we do wonders for their broadcasting skills and really their overall personal skills. How, for you, how does it make you feel that you have such an impact on kids like me who want to be in this business, or younger guys who are watching this, or anybody really who gets to listen in to you on the radio, Chris on the radio, anybody else? For you, how does it make you feel that you have such an impact on everyone?
Well, no, but it's the truth, isn't it? When you see guys on you, not only you see yourself, but you can see the other guys too, right? In the beginning, they're kind of uncomfortable, and a lot of speaking. So that's the thing. It's not. I mean, broadcasting on TV or radio is, you first got to be able to speak in front of people. So we're oftentimes just working on, hey man, you gotta get out of yourself. You gotta have an edge to you when you're talking. You gotta enunciate. You gotta hit the high notes. You gotta have inflection. And so we get those parts going, and then there's an evolution throughout the week that and then again, people tail off, I'm sure, when they go away. But that's kind of what I try to bring out. Whereas, I think that we have other, Craig D'Amico does an amazing, Dave Popkin at technical. I'm trying to just get the most out of where you are right there, and get that confidence going. It's a wonderful thing to watch confidence grow. And that's what you're able to do during the camp.
Yeah, and I know me especially, being able to talk to you here tonight, get the opportunity to do this interview, and kids learning from someone who's doing it in the business, as you said, you, Dave Popkin, Craig D'Amico. One more thing before we end tonight. You said, as you mentioned before, Wizards play the Brooklyn Nets tomorrow, Nets coming off 2 big wins. You said 45 points the other night for Kevin Durant. What is one key for us, for the Brooklyn Nets for this season?
Sustained defensive intensity, Matt. They're up and down defensively. You don't know what you're getting. You don't know what you're getting night in and night out. I feel like Jacques Vaughn is trying to instill that right now. They have enough offensive talent. Can they sustain a defensive mentality throughout 48 minutes of an NBA game, night after night after night? If they do that, I think they're unselfish. I don't think they're selfish, and I think they're ready, but they've got to get their technique down, but more important, just their overall defensive attitude and approach. If they do, I think they're a dangerous team. If they don't, they've already proven that they're not. So they better get it done.
Thank you. We're going to find that out tomorrow when they play the Wizards at 7:30. Tim, thank you so much for this interview. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great call tomorrow as Washington plays Brooklyn at home. Thank you again so much, and I'll definitely talk to you again soon.
Well, send me the links. I want to watch what you're doing, and we'll correct it right away, because you're not going to be great. So try to do a few games or a few interviews, and I'll beat you up, man. I'll tell you what I think, or I'll get Ian Eagle to look at it. I'll get Chris Carrino. I'll get different guys to look at it if I got to. Because you're only going to get better. But get out there, get your feet wet before it counts. Okay.
Definitely will. Thank you so much.
All righty, man. You take care.
You too.
Great talking to you.